Running a successful mining operation is not easy at all. A huge part of the challenge comes from having the right equipment, reliable access to replacement parts, skilled workers, and the proper infrastructure already in place. Without these pieces working together, even the best plans can fall apart. That's why Parker Schnabel's rise is so shocking. His story takes him from sleeping on a friend's couch to owning a gold mine worth $15 million. By the age of 24, Parker had already pulled more than $13 million worth of gold out of the ground. Today, he pays his workers more in a year than many doctors earn and drives vehicles that cost more than most people's homes. However, what the cameras on Gold Rush don't always show are the wild trips to Las Vegas, the luxury vehicles, and the real reason his girlfriend eventually left him. To truly understand Parker, you have to look beyond the show and step into the private world of television's richest young mining star. Parker Schnabel did not grow up like most kids. When he was just 5 years old, he operated heavy machinery for the first time. This didn't happen in a theme park or on a movie set, but at his grandfather's real working gold mine in Haines, Alaska, known as the Big Nugget Mine. It was not a playground or a place for pretending. It was a serious mining operation, and Parker wasn't there just to watch. His grandfather, John Schnabel, believed strongly in learning through hands-on experience. Instead of toy trucks, Parker learned how to handle real machines. While most kids were learning to ride bikes with training wheels, Parker was sitting in the driver's seat of loaders and dozers, absorbing lessons that would shape his entire future. Haines is a small town with a population of about 1,700 people, surrounded by wilderness. Life there is harsh and demanding. Winters are long and brutal, summers are short, and when something breaks, there's no one else to call. You fix it yourself. Growing up in that environment taught Parker discipline, problem-solving, and resilience. Laziness wasn't an option. While other kids spent their time playing video games, Parker was learning how to move dirt, manage crews, understand machinery, and recognize the real value of gold. These lessons became the foundation of everything he would later accomplish. By the time Parker turned 16, life took a dramatic turn. His grandfather's health began to decline. John Schnabel wasn't just family. He was Parker's mentor, guide, and a respected legend in the mining world. When John passed away at the age of 96 on March 18, 2016, the responsibility for the Big Nugget Mine fell directly on Parker's shoulders. Although Parker had already been helping run the operation, he was now fully in charge. Losing his grandfather was emotionally devastating, and stepping into leadership at such a young age made it even harder. Still, Parker refused to walk away. He took control and kept the mine alive. Not long after, Parker made a decision that shocked nearly everyone around him. Instead of going to college, he took his entire college fund, $663,000, and invested it into mining equipment. This wasn't a reckless gamble. It was a calculated decision based on years of experience and confidence in his abilities. That money allowed him to expand operations, improve efficiency, and mine more gold than ever before. The risk paid off, and over time, that investment turned into millions of dollars. Parker was only 16 years old when he first appeared on television. He was young, quiet, and largely unknown. Producers of Gold Rush weren't convinced that a teenager leading a mining crew could carry a season. But once they watched him work, their doubts faded. Parker wasn't just a kid with a famous last name. He understood strategy, machinery, and risk. During his audition, he explained how to run a mine from top to bottom without a script or coaching. His knowledge surpassed that of many adults. What truly impressed the producers was how naturally he handled heavy equipment. His skills came from years of real experience in the dirt, not from books. The producers took a chance on him, and it paid off. When Parker first signed on, he negotiated $25,000 per episode, an impressive number for someone so young. As the show grew, so did his value, eventually reaching up to $100,000 per episode. Despite the money, Parker didn't live like a typical celebrity. He avoided flashy homes and expensive cars, choosing instead to spend money on his crew, hunting trips, and shared experiences. He once said he preferred investing in memories rather than possessions. That grounded mindset made him stand out in the world of reality television. Filming Gold Rush was demanding and intense. Each season required months of planning, filming, and constant pressure. While other teenagers focused on school and sports, Parker was leading full-scale mining operations in the Yukon. The responsibility was enormous, but he handled it with focus and determination. In his early 20s, Parker achieved one of the most impressive gold hauls in modern mining history. In the brutal conditions of the Klondike, his crew pulled out 1,029 ounces of gold in a single season, worth more than $1.7 million. This wasn't luck. It required careful planning, non-stop work, and strong leadership. While others his age sat in classrooms or searched for entry-level jobs, Parker was pulling over $1 million out of frozen ground. That season proved he wasn't just surviving, he was dominating. Years later, Parker made another bold move by purchasing Dominion Creek for $15 million at the age of 28. The land had an estimated $200 million worth of gold still underground, but it came with massive risks. To break even, he needed to mine 10,000 ounces every season for 6 years. Early setbacks hit hard. Frozen ground, broken equipment, and slow production nearly crushed morale. Still, Parker adjusted his strategy, upgraded equipment, and invested $540,000 in powerful water pumps to improve recovery. He pushed forward, showing he was focused on long-term success, not quick wins. By early 2025, Dominion Creek continued to struggle, so Parker made another risky decision. In February, he bought 2 additional claims, Gold Run and Sulphur Creek, for $2.5 million. These claims had over a century of mining history and still held gold. Within just 2 days of mining at Sulphur Creek, the crew pulled 141.65 ounces, instantly shifting morale. Moving equipment across 25 miles of rough terrain was difficult, and opinions were divided, but Parker stayed committed. He accepted the debt and the risk, ready to face either success or failure. By age 24, Parker had already mined more than $13 million worth of gold. Instead of spending it recklessly, he reinvested into better equipment, new land, and long-term growth. At 18, he left the Big Nugget mine and leased land from Tony Beets in the Klondike. The deal was harsh, with increasing royalty percentages that nearly bankrupted him. When renegotiation failed, Parker found creative ways to survive. Their rivalry exploded publicly in Season 8 when Tony accused Parker of sneaking material through his claim. The confrontation became one of the most intense moments in Gold Rush history. Over time, the relationship between Parker and Tony evolved from mentorship to rivalry. By 2025, Tony viewed Parker as a serious threat. Though he rarely praised him, leasing unwanted land to Parker showed quiet respect. Still, Tony publicly criticized Parker's aggressive expansion, saying he was biting off more than he could chew by running 3 wash plants at once. Through every risk, setback, and confrontation, Parker Schnabel proved one thing. His success didn't come from playing it safe. It came from making hard decisions, embracing pressure, and living with the consequences. Saying it would eventually cost him something was not an exaggeration, and he was not entirely wrong about that warning. By early 2025, Parker found himself in a dangerous financial position. Just 9 weeks into the mining season, while still trying to properly launch operations at Dominion Creek, he was already buried under $2.5 million in debt. The pressure was enormous, and many doubted whether the gamble would pay off. Behind closed doors, however, Tony Beets noticed something different. He quietly observed Parker's methods and results, and according to people inside the industry, Tony even told his son Kevin that Parker's gold recovery rates were impressive and worth studying, not mocking. Even Tony, who rarely handed out praise, admitted that the young miner was genuinely skilled at what he did. The story of Parker Schnabel and Todd Hoffman goes far beyond a simple rivalry. It became a full-scale collision of ambition, ego, pride, and 2 completely different philosophies about how gold mining should be run. What began as a deal that should have been straightforward slowly transformed into a defining chapter in the history of Gold Rush. During one of the show's most dramatic periods, Parker purchased a wash plant from Todd. The agreed price was 700 grams of gold, valued at roughly $46,000 at the time. Todd believed he had made a clever move, unloading equipment he considered useless and outdated. In his mind, he had come out on top. Parker, however, saw potential where Todd saw scrap. Instead of abandoning the wash plant, Parker rebuilt it, adjusted it, and made it work. That same piece of equipment soon became a critical part of his mining operation. The gold it produced helped fuel Parker's rise and turned what Todd dismissed as junk into a success story. For Todd, this was more than a financial loss. It was a direct blow to his pride. He had underestimated Parker from the very beginning, and that mistake widened the gap between them. Parker's success accelerated, while Todd's influence and results steadily declined. Todd did not stay silent as Parker continued to rise. He openly accused Parker of being disrespectful, particularly toward older and more experienced workers. In interviews, Todd explained that it was difficult for him to watch seasoned crew members get brushed aside by someone so young. He portrayed Parker as arrogant and careless, suggesting that he lacked appreciation for people who had spent decades in the mining industry. What started as a professional disagreement evolved into a generational conflict. Todd represented tradition, seniority, and experience. Parker represented efficiency, innovation, and results-driven leadership. This divide split the audience. Some viewers sided with Todd, valuing loyalty and respect for elders. Others admired Parker's relentless focus and his ability to deliver gold regardless of obstacles. The tension did not remain verbal for long. It spilled over into real confrontations between crews. Arguments escalated into physical fights on set, and these incidents were not staged for television drama. They were genuine clashes fueled by stress and resentment. In one situation, a disagreement over mining yields turned into a full crew brawl. There were accusations of sabotage, intense shouting matches, and moments so volatile that production staff were forced to intervene to prevent total collapse. The situation became uncomfortable not just for those involved, but for viewers as well. Morale dropped across the crews, and fans began questioning whether the show could survive such hostility. By 2018, everything reached a breaking point. Todd Hoffman left Gold Rush. His departure was not solely about business decisions. His mining operations had been struggling for years, with low profits and repeated setbacks. Meanwhile, Parker was setting record-breaking numbers season after season. The contrast between them became impossible to ignore, and Todd was constantly being measured against Parker's success. That pressure wore him down. After leaving the show, Todd admitted in interviews that the toxic atmosphere played a major role in his decision. He also revealed that reality television had begun affecting his personal life and mental health. Continuing simply was not worth the cost. Although he later returned to television with Hoffman Family Gold, his exit from Gold Rush marked the end of one of reality TV's most intense and memorable rivalries. Away from the mines, Parker's personal life was unfolding in its own complicated way. In 2016, while traveling in Australia, he met Ashley Ewell, a veterinary nurse whose positive energy stood out even in the harsh world of mining. Parker invited her to join him in the Klondike, and their relationship lasted for 2 years. Ashley was never just a background presence. She worked in the gold room, helped the crew, and played an active role in the operation. In a 2017 interview with Maxim, Parker admitted that Ashley did not receive enough credit for how successful that summer had been. Despite the professional success, the relationship eventually ended. In the final episode of Season 8, after producing 8,400 ounces of gold worth over $10 million, Parker made a rare emotional confession. He called the breakup with Ashley one of his biggest failures. He admitted that he failed to make her a priority and acknowledged that she deserved better. Ashley never spoke publicly about the split. Instead, she quietly erased any trace of Parker from her social media and returned to Australia. Her silence only made Parker's regret feel heavier and more visible. A few months later, on August 13, 2018, fans noticed something new. Parker shared a photo with Sheena Cowell, a British television professional who worked with Knickerbocker Glory TV, a company involved in reality productions. The image felt personal, and speculation began immediately. Many wondered whether she was his new girlfriend, especially given the timing so soon after his breakup with Ashley. Neither Parker nor Sheena confirmed the rumors. Her background in television seemed compatible with Parker's unusual lifestyle. In a 2024 interview with People, Parker even joked that explaining his job often made him sound like he lived in some dystopian world. By 2019, the rumors faded after reports surfaced that Sheena already had a boyfriend. Then came Tyler Mahoney. In 2020, during Season 4 of Gold Rush, Parker's Trail, Parker teamed up with the fourth-generation Australian gold prospector. They were the same age and shared deep family roots in mining. Their chemistry was immediate and noticeable. Fans picked up on it instantly. Social media buzzed, Reddit threads exploded with theories, and viewers analyzed every episode for signs of romance. The show's editing leaned into the speculation by highlighting their teamwork and shared passion. However, nothing was ever confirmed. Unlike his relationship with Ashley, there were no on-screen kisses or declarations, only mutual respect and compelling television. Parker later purchased a claim in Australia, fueling further speculation about Tyler's role in his future. As of 2023 and 2024, Neither has confirmed a relationship, though the rumors persist. Back in 2018, during the filming of Parker's Trail in Papua New Guinea, another conflict erupted, this time behind the camera. Parker initially worked well with cameraman James Lovell, but creative tension quickly built. On July 12th, the situation exploded when Lovell insisted on filming a dangerous river crossing. Parker objected, but the camera kept rolling. The disagreement escalated into a shouting match that lasted more than 3 hours. Crew members could hear them yelling from over 100 meters away. By the end, Parker threatened to walk away from the entire project. Discovery executives intervened, and just 3 days later, on July 15th, Lovell was removed from the shoot. By that point, only 60% of the planned footage had been captured. The disruption cost Discovery an estimated $380,000. Lovell later filed a breach of contract lawsuit against Raw TV on September 3rd. The case was settled out of court in February 2019, and Parker and Lovell never spoke again. In 2019, Parker made headlines again, this time for something far less dramatic. On March 17th, around 2:15 p.m., he was pulled over by Alaska State Trooper Michael Ingram on the Haines Highway. Parker had been driving his 2018 Ford F-150 at 64 miles per hour in a 55-mile zone, roughly 9 miles over the limit. He received a $60 ticket under citation number AK1903275. Normally, the incident would have gone unnoticed, but Parker failed to respond to the ticket. A court warning was issued on April 12th, and he finally pleaded no contest on May 6th. TMZ picked up the story on May 12th, and it quickly went viral. One popular tweet joked that Parker could have paid the fine with pocket change from his gold pants. The fine itself was insignificant, but the reaction raised questions among fans about his sense of responsibility. Then came 2024, a year that nearly broke him. During the filming of Season 15 of Gold Rush, Parker faced a cascade of disasters. On June 12th, a major equipment failure at Dominion Creek resulted in an estimated $2.3 million loss in potential gold recovery. Just days later, permitting issues forced a shutdown that lasted 17 days, costing another $1.5 million in overhead and lost production. By August 3rd, Parker's cash reserves had dropped to just $78,000, barely enough to keep operations running for a week. In desperation, he pawned his 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air, a car that had belonged to his late grandfather, for $115,000 to cover payroll. On August 28th, Parker called an emergency meeting with his crew. He gave them the option to leave with no penalties. 3 key team members, including Mitch Blaschke, stayed. They worked without pay for 2 weeks to help keep the operation alive. On September 7th, everything changed when they hit a rich pay streak. 1,872 ounces of gold in a single week, worth roughly $3.5 million. The strike saved the operation. While much of this was filmed, only fragments made it into the show. The full story was deemed too intense for broadcast. Despite his massive success, Parker lives with surprising restraint. His mining operations are enormous, with Season 14 alone generating $24 million. He reportedly earns about $100,000 per episode, totaling around $2 million per season. Yet he claims not to spend like someone with that income. In interviews, Parker has said he does not even own a house outside his mine site, though reports vary. Some sources claim he owns multiple properties, including a 2,000-square-foot home in Haines, Alaska, with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, as well as a house in the Yukon. One report suggested he purchased his dream home for over $950,000 and may be one of the largest landowners in the Klondike. His wealth shows most clearly in his vehicles. He owns a custom Ford Raptor with black and red detailing, a rugged Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, a Jeep Wrangler for off-road use, a modified Chevrolet Silverado, and several ATVs spread across his mining claims. Even so, Parker insists he is not interested in flashy spending. He has said that he rarely buys physical possessions and prefers experiences instead. Every year, he treats his crew to trips, including hunting excursions, a 3-day Las Vegas run, and even a World Series game with his father. In 2023, he spent 3 weeks traveling through London. Most of what he earns, he pours straight back into his mining business. "Most of what I make goes right back into the ground," Parker has said more than once. For him, mining is not just a job or a source of fame. It is a long-term commitment. Every dollar reinvested is another chance to grow, to improve efficiency, and to secure the future of his operation. While others might chase luxury or public attention, Parker remains focused on building something that lasts. His lifestyle reflects that mindset. Even after years of success, setbacks, rivalries, and personal sacrifices, he continues to approach mining with the same intensity that defined him at the very beginning. That mindset is what ultimately separates Parker Schnabel from many others in the industry. His journey has been marked by debt, conflict, heartbreak, and near collapse, but also by resilience, discipline, and an unwavering belief in his own methods. From public rivalries and private regrets to financial brinkmanship and record-breaking gold hauls, Parker's story is not one of easy success. It is a story of constant pressure, hard choices, and learning the cost of ambition. And despite everything he has gained and lost along the way, one thing remains clear. Parker is still willing to risk everything for the next season, the next claim, and the next ounce of gold. Most of what he earns, he pours straight back into his mining business, reinvesting in land, equipment, and people rather than luxury or status symbols. To Parker, money is not a finish line, it is fuel. It is what keeps the machines running, the crews paid, and the next season possible. Even after years of success, setbacks, rivalries, public scrutiny, and personal losses, his mindset has barely changed. He still measures progress in ounces pulled from the ground and problems solved under pressure. At the core of Parker Schnabel's story is a pattern that never really shifts. He takes risks others avoid. He carries weight that would break most people his age. He learns fast, fails publicly, and keeps moving forward anyway. Whether facing debt, crew conflicts, broken relationships, or near total collapse, he returns to the same belief that built his career in the first place. Results matter, and quitting is not an option. That relentless drive is what made him controversial, admired, criticized, and successful all at once, and it continues to define everything he does, both on and off the screen. Most of what he earns ends up being reinvested directly into his mining operations, where he believes the money belongs. For Parker, growth has always mattered more than comfort. He sees every successful season not as a finish line, but as fuel for the next challenge. That mindset has defined his entire career, from taking massive financial risks at a young age to pushing through seasons that nearly wiped him out completely. Even after everything he has endured, rivalries, public scrutiny, failed relationships, lawsuits, financial near collapse, and non-stop pressure, Parker remains focused on the work itself. He has often said that mining is not just a job for him, but a responsibility, one tied to his family legacy and the lessons passed down from his grandfather. Those lessons are what keep him grounded when success skyrockets and when failure feels unavoidable. What sets Parker apart is not just how much gold he pulls from the ground, but how willing he is to shoulder the consequences of his decisions. When things go wrong, he does not hide behind excuses. He takes the hit, learns from it, and keeps moving forward. That approach has earned him respect from some of the toughest figures in the industry, even those who once doubted him or openly challenged his authority. As Gold Rush continues and Parker's operation grows larger and more complex, the pressure has not disappeared, it has only evolved. Bigger claims mean bigger risks, larger crews, heavier equipment, and higher expectations. One bad decision can still cost millions, and one great decision can secure an entire season. Parker understands that balance better than most, and it is why he remains both cautious and bold at the same time. Whether fans see him as a relentless perfectionist, a brilliant strategist, or a stubborn workaholic, one thing is undeniable. Parker Schnabel has carved out his place in modern mining history. His journey is no longer just about gold. It is about endurance, leadership, and the price of ambition. And as long as there is ground left to dig and challenges left to face, Parker shows no signs of walking away.